I no, I don't want to hear nothing about it. I am reading one chapter again today. Yes, I am. Y'all do not understand how much sleep I lose on a daily basis over content because I have an entire life outside of this and I go to work every day. Now, until I'm rich off content, baby, I'm gonna keep going to work, okay? Because bills is never gonna not be due, okay? Unless an apocalypse happen, and even then, the United States government probably ain't gonna let shit slide, okay? Okay. Now, I am going to get back to reading more than one chapter very soon, like within like 2 weeks, okay? Maybe even the episode after this will be multiple chapters. But anyway, yeah, hi, my name is Mashawn. Welcome to Talking ETV. This is the book club. Now, let me tell you how we got here. So, Walking Dead is my favorite show of all time. It's the end all be all, the one and not the two. And you don't have to ask me who the best character is in the whole Walking Dead universe. So, ever since reading the Walking Dead comics, I'm like, okay, I'm always going to do reactions to stuff first because that's just what I do. I just watch TV and just be talking shit while I watch TV. I'm not one of them people that just be sitting there. Like, I just, baby, my mouth get to running real bad. So I'm always do my reaction videos first, but anything that I watch that I feel the need to read the source material for, we're going to get into it. And after watching all the Harry Potter movies and Return to Hogwarts, which full uncut reactions are on my website, and the reactions to the first 8 movies are here on YouTube. It just felt good and it just felt right and it just made sense to start with Harry Potter. And obviously these are some of the most famous books in the fucking history of human beings. So yeah, I really liked Harry Potter. And I like all of the books so far better than all of the movies. And Prisoner of Azkaban was my favorite movie. So after I finish the book Prisoner of Azkaban, I might have to rewatch the movie just to get my compare and contrast on. And so yeah. Also, y'all need to subscribe to my website if y'all want to pay for them full uncut reactions, baby. I'm watching Game of Thrones. I just uploaded the season 8 premiere. What else? Star Trek Discovery. What did I just upload? Season 2, episode 11. From, I just uploaded season 1, episode 10. That's the season 1 finale. And the last Attack on Titan that I uploaded was season 3, episode 5. No, episode 4. 5 is coming soon, but episode 4 is already up there of season 3. And yes, obviously we about to get back in our Walking Dead bag too because I've been fighting for my life and I've been getting no sleep, y'all. I have not watched the first 2 episodes of Dead City, but I'm about to watch them. Today is Monday, May 12th. I'm recording this book club episode right now, and then I'm about to upload it. So yeah, y'all. And I'm behind on The Last of Us. I have not watched The Last of Us since they killed Joel. Like, I ain't gonna even hold y'all. No, I did. I watched episode 3. And now I need to watch 4 and 5. So I need to watch 2 Dead City after this and 2 From. No. 2 Dead City and 2. See, I done gave up on The Last of Us. I done forgot the damn name of the show. I need to watch 2 episodes of The Last of Us and then 2 episodes of Dead City because, I want to save my Walking Dead, the best for last. So, yeah, I got a lot to do. Anyway, I've been running my mouth for 3.5 minutes, so let's just get to reading. But I just want to let y'all know what full uncut reactions I'm currently uploading. And obviously, we got movies over there. I got Punisher. All of Stranger Things is up there. I got all kind of shit up there. Anyway, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, chapter 13, is titled Gryffindor versus Ravenclaw. Oh shit. I forgot we about to do the Quidditch match. Is this Hermione's cat? Crookshanks. It looked like the end of Ron and Hermione's friendship. Each was so angry with the other that Harry couldn't see how they'd ever make up. Ron was enraged that Hermione had never taken Crookshanks' attempts to eat Scabbers seriously, hadn't bothered to keep a close enough watch on him, and was still trying to pretend that Crookshanks was innocent by suggesting that Ron look for Scabbers under all the boys' beds. I'm scared. I think this is probably when Scabbers' bitch ass disappeared and then popped back up after he had got back with the V-Man. I don't know, y'all. Obviously, I just know Scabbers ain't dead. And to this day, that is the one thing that I am pissed the fuck off about with Harry. because Harry just lets people disrespect him and treat him any kind of way. And that really bothers me. But the one thing I'm never gonna let slide is the fact that you let Scabbers bitch ass go. And that's the motherfucker that is the reason you an orphan that snitched on your mama and daddy to Voldemort. Like I just can't, it ain't no way. I would have did my best magic on him. It ain't no fucking way the nigga that's the reason I'm a orphan is getting away with it. Nigga, jail ain't enough. I'm finna torture you. Do you hear me? No. So yeah, Harry pissed me off with that, just letting that shit go. Cause if you would let that go, you would let anything go. And that's crazy. Like, so there's nothing that somebody could do to you for you to treat them how you need to be treating them. Never mind Malfoy. And first of all, Malfoy didn't try to get you killed, and you letting that shit slide too. That's throughout all the movies. But yeah, Harry be pissing me the fuck off. Y'all know my favorite characters is Dumbledore. What's my lady name? I was about to say her real name. McGonagall, Hagrid. Them my three. Them my top three right there. Them is my top three. Anyway, I just got pissed off. They said he's sitting here talking about Scabbers. Hermione, meanwhile, maintained fiercely that Ron had no proof that Crookshanks had eaten Scabbers, that the ginger hairs might have been there since Christmas, and that Ron had been prejudiced against her cat ever since Crookshanks had landed on Ron's head in the magical menagerie. Personally, Harry was sure that Crookshanks had eaten Scabbers, and when he tried to point out to Hermione that the evidence all pointed that way, she lost her temper with Harry too. Okay, side with Ron. I knew you would, she said shrilly. First the firebolt, now Scabbers. Everything's my fault, isn't it? Just leave me alone. Harry, I've got a lot of work to do. Ron had taken the loss of his rat very hard indeed. Come on, Ron. You were always saying how boring Scabbers was, said Fred bracingly. And he's been off color for ages. He was wasting away. It was probably better for him to snuff it quickly one swallow. He probably didn't feel a thing. Fred, said Jenny indignantly. All he did was eat, sleep, and sleep. Ron, you said it yourself, said George. He bit Goyle for us once, Ron said miserably. Remember Harry? Yeah, that's true, said Harry. His finest hour, said Fred, unable to keep a straight face. Fred is me. Y'all know I love them twins. Oh, I'm not ready for them to kill one of the twins. Oh, that was so sad in the movies. Let the scar on Goyle's finger stand as a lasting tribute to his memory. Oh, come on, Ron. Get yourself down to Hogsmeade and buy a new rat. What's the point of moaning? In a last-ditch attempt to cheer Ron up, Harry persuaded him to come along to the Gryffindor team's final practice before the Ravenclaw match, so that he could have a ride on the firebolt after they finished. This did seem to take Ron's mind off of Scabbers for a moment. Great. Can I try and shoot a few goals on it? So they set off for the Quidditch field together. Madam Hooch, who was still overseeing Gryffindor practices to keep an eye on Harry, was just as impressed with the firebolt as everyone else had been. She took it in her hands before takeoff and gave them the benefit of her professional opinion. Look at the balance on it. If the Nimbus series has a fault, it's a slight list on the tail end. You often find they develop a drag after a few years. They've updated the handle too. A bit slimmer than the clean sweeps. Reminds me of the old silver arrows. A pity they've stopped making them. I learned to fly on one. A very fine old broom it was too. She continued in this vein for some time until Wood said, Madam Hooch, is it okay if Harry has the firebolt back? We need to go practice. Oh, right. Here you are then, Potter, said Madam Hooch. I'll sit over here with Weasley. She and Ron left the field to sit in the stadium, and the Gryffindor team gathered around Wood for his final instructions for tomorrow's match. Harry, I've just found out who Ravenclaw is playing as a seeker. It's Cho Chang. Was that person? I mean, that sounded like a girl. Was that person in the movies, y'all? I do remember seeing an Asian girl in the movies. She's a fourth year, and she's pretty good. I really hope she wouldn't be fit. She has some problems with injuries. Wood scowled his displeasure that Cho Chang had made a full recovery, then said, On the other hand, she rides a Comet 260, which is going to look like a joke next to the firebolt. He gave Harry's broom a look of fervent admiration, then said, "Okay, everyone, let's go." And at long last, Harry mounted his firebolt and kicked off from the ground. It was better than he'd ever dreamed. The firebolt turned with the lightest touch. It seemed to obey his thoughts rather than his grip. It sped across the field at such a speed that the stadium turned into a green and gray blur. Harry turned it so sharply that Alicia Spinnet screamed. Then he went into a perfectly controlled dive, brushing the grassy field with his toes before rising 30, 40, 50 feet into the air again. "Harry, I'm letting the snitch out," Wood called. Harry turned and raced a bludger toward the goalpost. He outstripped it easily, saw the snitch dart out from behind Wood, and within 10 seconds had caught it tightly in his hand. The team cheered madly. Harry let the snitch go again, gave it a minute's head start, then tore after it, weaving in and out of the others. He spotted it lurking near Katie Bell's knee, looped her easily, and caught it again. It was the best practice ever. The team, inspired by the presence of the firebolt in their midst, performed their best moves faultlessly. And by the time they hit the ground again, Wooden didn't have a single criticism to make, which, as George Weasley pointed out, was a first. "I can't see what's going to stop us tomorrow," said Wood. Famous last words, y'all. Y'all know this game is about to go to hell. It's going to either be before the game, during the game, or after the game. But my bet is it's going to either be, them three is the only options, obviously. But my bet is it's going to be during the game or after the game. But I just know it's about to go to hell. But can Wood please at least win one trophy? Because he graduating, okay? He need his one trophy. Harry, give him something, okay? He done always had a sorry team. Please. Not unless, Harry, you've sorted out your dementor problem, haven't you? "Yeah," said Harry, thinking of his feeble Patronus and wishing it were stronger. "The dementors won't turn up again, Oliver. Dumbledore to go ballistic," said Fred confidently. "Well, let's hope not," said Wood. "Anyway, good work, everyone. Let's get back to the tower. Turn in early." "I'm staying out for a bit. Ron wants to go on the firebolt," Harry told Wood, and while the rest of the team headed off to the locker rooms, Harry strode over to Ron, who vaulted the barrier to the stands and came to meet him. Madam Hooch had fallen asleep in her seat. "Ooh, y'all, what if something happened to Ron in this broom? Hold on." "Here you go," said Harry, handing Ron the firebolt. Ron, an expression of ecstasy on his face, mounted the broom and zoomed off into the gathering darkness while Harry walked around the edge of the field watching him. Night had fallen before Madam Hooch awoke with a start, told Harry and Ron off for not waking her, and insisted that they go back into the castle. Okay, good, so nothing happened to Ron or the firebolt. Okay. Harry shouldered the firebolt and he and Ron walked out of the shadowy stadium, discussing the firebolt's superbly smooth action, its phenomenal acceleration, and its pinpoint turning. They were halfway toward the castle when Harry, glancing to his left, saw something that made his heart turn over. A pair of eyes gleaming out of the darkness. Harry stopped dead, his heart banging against his ribs. "What's the matter?" said Ron. Harry pointed. Ron pulled out his wand and muttered, "Lumos." A beam of light fell across the grass, hit the bottom of a tree, and illuminated its branches. There, crouching among the budding leaves, was Crookshanks. "Get out of here!" Ron roared, and he stooped down and seized a stone lying on the grass. But before he could do anything else, Crookshanks had vanished with one swish of his long ginger tail. "See?" Ron said furiously, chucking the stone down again. "She's still letting him wander about wherever he wants. Probably washing down Scabbers with a couple of birds now." Harry didn't say anything. He took a deep breath as relief seeped through him. He had been sure for a moment that those eyes had belonged to the Grim. I thought that's what Harry was thinking too. They set off for the council. Why do I keep wanting to say council? They set off for the castle once more. Slightly ashamed of his moment of panic, Harry didn't say anything to Ron, nor did he look left or right until they had reached the well-lit entrance hall. Oh yeah, he was scared. He didn't want to see nothing else outside. He said tunnel vision straight to this damn door. Harry went down to breakfast the next morning with the rest of the boys in his dormitory, all of whom seemed to think the firebolt deserved a sort of guard of honor. Okay, because y'all, look, every single time y'all got a Quidditch game, it go to hell, and I just want y'all to at least have this one game. As Harry entered the great hall, heads turned in the direction of the firebolt, and there was a good deal of excited muttering. Harry saw, with enormous satisfaction, that the Slytherin team were all looking thunderstruck. "Did you see his face?" said Ron gleefully, looking back at Malfoy. "He can't believe it. This is brilliant." Wood, too, was basking in the reflected glory of the firebolt. "Put it here, Harry," he said, laying the broom in the middle of the table and carefully turning it so that the name faced upward. People from the Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff tables were soon coming over to look. Cedric Diggory, that's old boy from Twilight, ain't it? Didn't he get famous from Twilight? I remember everybody was obsessed over Twilight when I was in high school, even though I didn't even sit down and watch it when I was in high school. Robert Pattinson, that's his name. I was waiting on his name to come to me. Cedric Diggory came over to congratulate Harry on having acquired such a superb replacement for his Nimbus. And Percy's Ravenclaw girlfriend, Penelope Clearwater, asked if she could actually hold the firebolt. Now, Penny, no sabotage," said Percy heartily as she examined the firebolt closely. "Penelope and I have got a bet on," he told the team, 10 galleons on the outcome of the match. Penelope put the firebolt down again, thanked Harry, and went back to her table. "Harry, make sure you win," said Percy in an urgent whisper. "I haven't got 10 galleons. Yes, I'm coming, Penny." And he bustled off to join her in a piece of toast. "Sure you can manage that broom, Potter?" "I know this ain't nobody but Malfoy bitch ass coming over here hating, because let me tell you something. He hate to see Harry happy. Like, it bothers his spirit. Really, the fact that Harry exists at all, but he hate to see Harry happy." "Sure you can manage that broom, Potter?" said a cold, drawling voice. Draco Malfoy had arrived for a closer look, Crabbe and Goyle right behind him. "Yeah, reckon so," said Harry casually. "Got plenty of special features, hasn't it?" said Malfoy, eyes glittering maliciously. "Shame it doesn't come with a parachute, in case you get too near a Dementor." Crabbe and Goyle snickered. "Pity you can't attach an extra arm to yours, Malfoy," said Harry. "Then it could catch the snitch for you." "Okay, Harry, tell him. Come on. Say something back." The Gryffindor team laughed loudly. Malfoy's pale eyes narrowed, and he stalked away. They watched him rejoin the rest of the Slytherin team, who put their heads together, no doubt asking Malfoy whether Harry's broom really was a firebolt. At 11:15, the Gryffindor team set off for the locker rooms. The weather couldn't have been more different from their match against Hufflepuff. It was a clear, cool day with a very light breeze. There would be no visibility problems this time, and Harry, though nervous, was starting to feel the excitement only a Quidditch match could bring. They could hear the rest of the school moving into the stadium beyond. Harry took off his black school robes, removed his wand from his pocket, and stuck it inside the t-shirt he was going to wear under his Quidditch robes. He only hoped he wouldn't need it. He wandered suddenly. Why am I talking about wandered? Wondered. It is spelled wandered, to be fair. He wondered suddenly whether Professor Lupin was in the crowd watching. "Yeah, Harry, you might need some backup, baby." Even though I don't think the Dementors will show up again, because J.K. Rowling wouldn't repeat the same thing twice at a Quidditch match. Yeah, so I feel like all hell gonna break loose in a different way. I don't know. "You know what you've got to do," said Wood as they prepared to leave the locker rooms. "If we lose this match, we're out of the running. Just fly like you did in practice yesterday, and we'll be okay." They walked out onto the field to tumultuous applause. The Ravenclaw team, dressed in blue, were already standing in the middle of the field. Their seeker, Cho Chang, was the only girl on their team. She was shorter than Harry by about a head, and Harry couldn't help noticing, nervous as she was, that she was extremely pretty. She smiled at Harry as the teams faced each other behind their captains, and he felt a slight lurch in the region of his stomach that he didn't think had anything to do with nerves. "Oh, Harry, not you liking it? Okay. Is this the girl he ended up taking to that dance?" Don't give me the line, because girl, him, who did him and Ron end up taking to the dance? Didn't they look like some like maybe Indian type girls? I don't remember. Wood, Davies, shake hands, Madam Hooch said briskly, and Wood shook hands with the Ravenclaw captain. Mount your brooms. On my whistle. 3, 2, 1. Harry kicked off into the air and the firebolt zoomed higher and faster than any other broom. He soared around the stadium and began squinting around for the snitch, listening all the while to the commentary, which was being provided by the Weasley twins' friend, Lee Jordan. What was that, the little black boy in the movie, y'all? They're off, and the big excitement this match is the firebolt that Harry Potter is flying for Gryffindor. According to Witch Broomstick, the firebolt's going to be the broom of choice for the national teams at this year's World Championship. Jordan, would you mind telling us what's going on in the match? Interrupted Professor McGonagall's voice. Right, you are, Professor. Give me just a bit of background information. The firebolt, incidentally, has a built-in auto break in. Jordan! Okay. Gryffindor in possession. Katie Bell of Gryffindor headed for goal. Harry streaked past Katie in the opposite direction, gazing around for a glint of gold and noticing that Cho Chang was tailing him closely. She was undoubtedly a good flyer. She kept cutting across him, forcing him to change direction. Show her your acceleration, Harry, Fred yelled as he whooshed past in the pursuit of a bludger that was aiming for Alicia. Harry urged the firebolt forward as they rounded the Ravenclaw goalpost and Cho fell behind. Just as Katie succeeded in scoring the first goal of the match, and the Gryffindor end of the field went wild. He saw it. The snitch was close to the ground, flitting near one of the barriers. Harry dived. Cho saw what he was doing and tore after him. See, I knew she was going to do that, and that's actually a very good strategy to have because you know that Cho broom is not better than his. So, baby, you got to have your technique on point. And obviously, she's following Harry because she know if he's flying towards that bitch, she got to at least be close to him. Dives were his specialty. He was 10 feet away. Then a bludger, hit by one of the Ravenclaw beaters, came pelting out of nowhere. Harry veered off course, avoiding it by an inch. And in those few crucial seconds, the snitch had vanished. There was a great ooh of disappointment from the Gryffindor supporters, but much applause for their beater from the Ravenclaw end. George Weasley vented his feelings by hitting the second bludger directly at the offending beater, who was forced to roll right over it in midair to avoid it. Gryffindor leads by 80 points to 0. And look at that firebolt go. Potter's really putting it through the paces now. See it in turn. Chang's comet is just no match for it. The firebolt's precision, balance, is really noticeable in these long. Jordan, are you being paid to advertise firebolts? Get on with the commentary. I love McGonagall so much. I was about to say, why do this sound like a fucking firebolt commercial? He is the announcer, so obviously he's very into Quidditch, and he's probably just nerding out over this broom. Ravenclaw was pulling back. They had now scored 3 goals, which put Gryffindor only 50 points ahead. If Cho got the snitch before him, Ravenclaw would win. Harry dropped lower, narrowly avoiding a Ravenclaw chaser, scanning the field frantically. A glint of gold. A flutter of tiny wings. The snitch was circling the Gryffindor goalpost. Harry accelerated, eyes fixed on the speck of gold ahead. But just then, Cho appeared out of thin air, blocking him. Harry, this is no time to be a gentleman. Okay, no, literally, like, Harry, nigga, you stiff arm her or something. Like, nigga, we playing Quidditch. Y'all, what is that thing that them ladies be playing? Is it roller derby? Where they be stiff arming the fuck out of each other? Like, is it roller derby? I think it's roller derby. Harry, stiff arm this girl or something. Like, stop. Wood roared as Harry swerved to avoid a collision. Knock her off her broom if you have to. Harry turned and caught sight of Cho. She was grinning. The snitch had vanished again. Harry turned his firebolt upward and was soon 20 feet above the game. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Cho following him. She decided to mark him rather than search for the snitch herself. All right, then. If she wanted to tell him, she'd have to take the consequences. Harry dived again, and Cho, thinking he'd seen the snitch, tried to follow. Harry pulled out of the dive very sharply. She hurtled downward. He rose fast as a bullet once more, and then saw it. For the third time, the snitch was glittering way above the field at the Ravenclaw end. He accelerated. So many feet below did Cho. He was winning again, gaining on the snitch with every second. Then, ow! Screamed Cho, pointing. Distracted, Harry looked down. 3 Dementors. Harry, if you don't catch this motherfucking snitch and end this game before them Dementors get to you. He literally cannot have any fucking thing. He on a train minding his business, he'll go to Dementors. He playing his sports at school, minding his motherfucking business, he'll go to Dementors. Dumbledore got them together. They still the fuck outside. Like, do it look like, who the fuck they looking for again? Do it look like Sirius Black is playing Quidditch right now? Why the fuck is y'all over here bothering this girl? Three Dementors. 3 tall, black, hooded Dementors were looking up at him. He didn't stop to think. Plunging a hand down the neck of his robes, he whipped out his wand and roared, Expecto Patronum! Something silver white, something enormous, erupted from the end of his wand. That's what the fuck I'm talking about, Harry. Hold on. That's what the fuck I'm talking about, Harry. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. He knew it had shot directly at the Dementors, but didn't pause to watch. His mind still miraculously clear. He looked up ahead. He was nearly there. He stretched out the hand, still grasping his wand, and just managed to close his fingers over the small, struggling snitch. Madame Hooch's whistle sounded. Harry turned around in midair and saw 6 scarlet blurs bearing down on him. Next moment, the whole team was hugging him so hard he was nearly pulled off his broom. Oh, I'm so happy, okay, because I was about to get mad. I am so happy. Oh, I was about to get mad. Also, too, the Dementors, I have to remember, it's like a buffet to them. They just like the children, suck the happiness out of the children. Like, it's a buffet. Those many people in one place. That's why they be attracted to the motherfucking Quidditch match. Down below, he could hear the roars of the Gryffindors in the crowd. That's my boy! Wood kept yelling. Alicia, Angelina, and Katie had all kissed Harry. Oh, that's so cute. I could just see Harry, mwah, mwah, mwah. The girls just walking past, giving it to him. Fred had him in a grip so tight, Harry felt as though his head would come off. In complete disarray, the team managed to make its way back to the ground. Harry got off his broom and looked up to see a gaggle of Gryffindor supporters sprinting onto the field. Ron in the lead. Before he knew it, he had been engulfed by the cheering crowd. Yes! Ron yelled, yanking Harry's arm into the air. Yes! Yes! Well done, Harry, said Percy, looking delighted. 10 galleons to me. Must find Penelope. Excuse me. Good for you, Harry, roared Seamus Finnegan. Ruddy, brilliant, boomed Hagrid over the heads of the milling Gryffindors. That was quite some Patronus, said a voice in Harry's ear. Harry turned around to see Professor Lupin, who looked both shaken and pleased. The Dementors didn't affect me at all, Harry said excitedly. I didn't feel a thing. That would be because they weren't Dementors, said Professor Lupin. What the fuck? I was so proud of Harry. Excuse me. Now I'm confused. Come and see. He led Harry out of the crowd until they were able to see the edge of the field. You gave Mr. Malfoy quite a fright, said Lupin. Harry started, lying in a crumpled. Oh, those weren't Dementors. Was it the Slytherins? Harry stared. Lying in a crumpled heap on the ground were Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle. That's poetic justice. It really is. In every way. Hold on. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. Also, what the fuck is y'all doing on the field? Y'all not even playing. Get the fuck in the stands. Always doing some shit. They probably was about to do some shit they ain't had no business doing anyway. Harry said, "Get the fuck off the field." Okay, wait. Okay. Harry stared. Lying in a crumpled heap on the ground were Malfoy, Crabbe, Goyle, and Marcus Flint, the Slytherin team captain, all struggling to remove themselves from long black hooded robes. Oh. Yeah, I told y'all they was doing something they weren't supposed to be doing. They was probably trying to scare Harry so he could fall off his fucking broom or something and get scared and lose the match. They was pretending to be not them cosplaying Dementors. All struggling to remove themselves from long black hooded robes. It looked as though Malfoy had been standing on Goyle's shoulders. Oh, yep. Standing over them with an expression of the utmost fury on her face was Professor McGonagall. "An unworthy trick!" she was shouting. "A low and cowardly attempt to sabotage the Gryffindor Seeker. Detention for all of you. And 50 points from Slytherin. I shall be speaking to Professor Dumbledore about this. Make no mistake. Ah, here he comes now." First of all, I would take 50 points from Slytherin per person. If anything could have set the seal on Gryffindor's victory, it was this. No, for real, because the Slytherin's getting in trouble and we won. Ron, who had fought his way through to Harry's side, doubled up with laughter as he watched Malfoy fighting to extricate himself from the robe, Goyle's head still stuck inside it. "Come on, Harry," said George, fighting his way over. "Party! Party Gryffindor common room now." "Right," said Harry, and feeling happier than he had in ages, he and the rest of the team led the way, still in their scarlet robes, out of the stadium and back up the castle. It felt as though they had already won the Quidditch Cup. The party went on all day and well into the night. Oh, yeah, damn, I forgot this wasn't the last game. This was just, it's a tournament. We got one more game after this. Damn, y'all, I forgot. I thought that was the last one. I was so happy for Wood. He's just happy that they're not getting kicked out the tournament. Fred and George Weasley disappeared for a couple of hours and then returned with armfuls. I love them so much. Armfuls of bottles of butterbeer, pumpkin fizz, and several bags full of honeydew sweets. "How did you do that?" squealed Angelina Johnson as George started throwing peppermint toads into the crowd. "With a little help from Moony, Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs." Baby, you know he talking about the people from his map, but she don't know that. Fred muttered in Harry's ear. Y'all, you see, he didn't even say it to the girl. Only one person wasn't joining in the festivities. Hermione, incredibly, was sitting in a corner attempting to read an enormous book entitled Home Life and Social Habits of British Muggles. First of all, girl, your parents are British Muggles. Why is you reading this book? Harry broke away from the table where Fred and George had started juggling butterbeer bottles and went over to her. "Did you even come to the match?" he asked her. "Of course I did," she said in a strangely high-pitched voice, not looking up. "And I'm very glad we won. I think you did really well. But I need to read this by Monday." "Come on, Hermione, come and have some food," Harry said, looking over at Ron and wondering whether he was in a good enough mood to bury the hatchet. "I can't, Harry. I've still got 422 pages to read," said Hermione, now sounding slightly hysterical. "Anyway," she glanced over to Ron, too. "He doesn't want me to join in." These kids. There was no arguing with this, as Ron chose that moment to say loudly, "If Scabbers hadn't just been eaten, he'd have had some of those fudge flies. He really used to like them." "Ron, let it go. Wait till you find out who Scabbers really is." Hermione burst into tears. Before Harry could say or do anything, she tucked the enormous book under her arm and, still sobbing, ran toward the staircase to the girls' dormitories and out of sight. "Can't you give her a break?" Harry asked Ron quietly. "No," said Ron flatly. "If she just acted like she was sorry, but she'll never admit she's wrong, Hermione. She's still acting like Scabbers is going on vacation or something." "See, Ron, you don't know, baby. Nobody is dead until you see a body. You have to see them dead." The Gryffindor party ended only when Professor McGonagall turned up in her tartan dress gown and hairnet at 1 in the morning to insist that they all go to bed. Harry and Ron climbed the stairs to their dormitory, still discussing the match. At last, exhausted, Harry climbed into bed, twitching the hangings of his four-poster, shut to block out a ray of moonlight, lay back, and felt himself almost instantly drifting to sleep. He had a very strange dream. He was walking through a forest, his firebolt over his shoulder, following something silvery white. It was winding its way through the trees ahead, and he could only catch glimpses of it between the leaves. Anxious to catch up with it, he sped up, but as he moved faster, so did his quarry. Harry broke into a run, and ahead he heard hooves gathering speed. Now he was running flat out, not the galloping. And ahead he could hear galloping. See, when he said hooves, I instantly thought horse. Then he turned a corner into a clearing and, ah, no! Harry woke as suddenly as though he'd been hit in the face. Disoriented in the total darkness, he fumbled with his hangings. He could hear movements around him, and Seamus Finnegan's voice from the other side of the room. What's going on? Harry thought he heard the dormitory door slam. At last, finding the divide in his curtains, he ripped them back, and at the same moment, Dean Thomas lit his lamp. Ron was sitting up in the bed, the hangings torn from one side, a look of utmost terror on his face. Black! Sirius Black! With a knife! What? Here, just now! Slashed the curtains! Woke me up! You sure you weren't dreaming, Ron? Said Dean. Look at the curtains. I tell you he was here. They all scrambled out of bed. Harry reached the dormitory door first, and they sprinted back down the staircase. Doors opened behind them, and sleepy voices called after them. Who shouted? What are you doing? The common room was lit with the glow of dying fire, still littered with the debris from the party. It was deserted. Are you sure you weren't dreaming, Ron? I'm telling you, I saw him. What's all the noise? Professor McGonagall told us to go to bed. A few of the girls had come down their staircase, pulling on dressing gowns and yawning. Boys, too, were reappearing. Excellent. Are we carrying on? Said Fred Weasley brightly. Everyone back upstairs, said Percy, hurrying in the common room and pinning his head boy badge to his pajamas as he spoke. Yes, Percy, we know you're going to do your job every time, baby, okay? Percy, Sirius Black. Y'all, is that a typo? Percy is spelled P-E-R-C-E instead of P-E-R-C-Y like it's been throughout every book. Percy, Sirius Black, said Ron faintly. In our dormitory? With a knife. Woke me up. My chair be squeaking, and it's because I didn't put this chair together right, y'all. When I ordered this chair, obviously it came in a box in pieces, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And the little footrest part, I don't even know how to get that piece on here. But so the fact that it's squeaking and it's a new chair, I think it got something to do with. Of course, now I'm moving and it won't make the squeak noise. I think that's why it be squeaking, because of the way I put it together. The common room went very still. Nonsense, said Percy, looking startled. You had too much to eat, Ron. Had a nightmare. I'm telling you. Now, really, enough's enough. Professor McGonagall was back. She slammed the portrait behind her as she entered the common room and stared furiously around. I am delighted that Gryffindor won the match, but this is getting ridiculous. Percy, I expect better of you. I certainly didn't authorize this, Professor, said Percy, puffing himself up indignantly. I was just telling them all to go back to bed. My brother Ron here had a nightmare. It wasn't a nightmare, Ron yelled. Professor, I woke up and Sirius Black was standing over me, holding a knife. Professor McGonagall stared at him. Don't be ridiculous, Weasley. How could he possibly have gotten through the portrait hole? Ask him, said Ron, pointing a shaking finger at the back of Sir Cadogan's picture. Ask him if he saw. Glaring suspiciously at Ron, Professor McGonagall pushed the portrait back open and went outside. The whole common room listened with bated breath. Sir Cadogan, did you let a man enter Gryffindor Tower? Certainly, good lady. This nigga says certainly. So you just letting people in now? You wouldn't even let Neville Longbottom in, and you know Neville go here. Sir Cadogan, did you just let a man enter Gryffindor Tower? Certainly, good lady, cried Sir Cadogan. There was a stunned silence, both inside and outside the common room. You did? Said Professor McGonagall. But the password. He had 'em, said Sir Cadogan proudly. Had the whole weeks, m'lady. Read 'em off a little piece of paper. He found Neville's passwords that he wrote down. Fuck. I knew that was going to come back around. When Neville couldn't remember the password and he said, I had it wrote down, I lost the paper. Leave it to Neville to get us fucked up. Professor McGonagall pulled herself back through the portrait hole to face the stunned crowd. She was white as chalk. Which person? She said, her voice shaking. Which abysmally foolish person wrote down this week's passwords and left them lying around? There was utter silence, broken by the smallest of terrified squeaks. Neville Longbottom, trembling from head to fluffy slippered toes, raised his hands slowly into the air. And there, people, I don't even know what chapter that was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, chapter 13. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Talking ETV Book Club. If I am absolutely not fighting for my life, hanging on by an eyelash, not hanging on by a thread, I be hanging on by an eyelash. Okay? Like, I literally be going days without sleeping. It's terrible. Like, literally driving my car on the other side of the street because I'm falling asleep in a fucking crash. So I don't want to hear shit about how y'all want more than one chapter. I ain't gonna hold you. But anyway, I'm not complaining. I'm just letting y'all know that's why y'all only been getting one chapter, okay? Because at the end of the day, I don't have to do content. But I love this, and I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't want to do it. But yeah, I will see y'all next week. And next week, the energy is probably going to be giving 3-4 chapters. We'll see. Also, make sure y'all watching this on Apple, Spotify, the podcast, whatever, commenting, liking, sharing on YouTube too, all of the good things.